The views expressed on the Warren and Bradley Show are not necessarily those held by the hosts, Warren and Bradley, nor those of the proprietors of the website, warrenandbradley.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fire!
Let's make some magic.
It's magic time, Warren. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Warren and Bradley Show. I'm one of your hosts, Bradley.
And I'm the other host, Warren.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too, my friend.
And Happy New Year to all our loyal listeners out there. We had a New Year's party.
Yes.
Last evening, or you did. You hosted one in your house.
I sort of hosted one, yeah. It was at my house.
Did you indulge in the festivities very much? Or
I indulged in the festivities, but I didn't participate in the planning or organization or, like, provisioning of the party.
Or provisioning.
So I was more like a guest, really, in my own home.
In your own home.
Yeah.
And, okay, so I left probably at, like, 2 in the morning or so. How much longer did the party continue after that?
I feel like for another hour, maybe a little more than that.
Another hour?
I know people were still singing karaoke on the Xbox
Right.
a long time after I went to bed. I went to bed at like 2, and then the just like background music from the karaoke was playing very loud for a long time because no one was using the karaoke, but the noise was just playing of
Just
it,
the
which
menu.
went on and on and on and on for a long time. And then I got up at one point, and there were still people there stumbling around and yelling about people vomiting, and I was like, I don't want to deal with
There was
this.
vomit?
Oh yeah, you didn't know about this?
No.
Oh well.
Well, come on. So,
Someone vomited on someone's coat,
on someone's coat.
and someone came up to me, I'm not using any names here, and said, someone vomited on this coat. I don't know who this person is that vomited on this coat. But I was like, that's too bad. So I went to the bathroom and just like left, and I was like, I'm not going to deal with this.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm sorry I missed that.
Yeah, and apparently some people came that were at the party and helped clean up today.
That's nice.
Which was very nice, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I didn't help. I just
didn't-
left.
No, I knew that.
And yeah, so that was a nice contribution.
I've never had to clean up a woman's vomit before.
I don't think I have.
I don't think I've ever been vomited on either.
I don't think I have either.
That's good.
I guess that's a good record
Yeah,
to have.
yeah, that's a good record. I've been peed on before.
Well, that's because you paid somebody to do that.
No, no.
A male prostitute.
No. This wasn't like some weird water sport fetish. No, it was just some horrible night. It was one of those nights where everything is just, it's like some horrible surreal dream or like some crazy French impressionist movie, and you want to get out of it really badly. It was a friend who liked some girl, and the girl had a friend, and so he was like, oh, you have to hang out with this girl
Oh,
tonight.
yeah, you got a wing for me, man.
Yeah, I had to do the wingman thing, and both girls were just drunk out of their minds. We ended up going back to their house, and I was not, I wasn't into it. And
Yeah.
he was working his magic with the other girl while the one I was supposed to be babysitting kept passing out, and her head would like flop into my lap, and she'd go, and just like drooling on me. And I was worried about the vomit at that point because she kept going like making these kind of gagging noises. And so eventually she was like, you have to stay over, because it was her friend's house, and she was going to stay there, and she wanted me to stay with her. And so my other friend was like, yeah, come on, because he wanted to keep her occupied in another room. And so we got put in this little, like, guest room thing where there was no bed. There were just pillows on the ground. And she just passed out.
Yeah.
Like, she was dead. And so I was kind of leaning against the wall thinking, I guess I could probably stay here, wait until maybe they fall asleep in the other room, and then I can creep out and I'll be fine. But then I ended up falling asleep against the wall.
Wait, were you standing and leaning?
I was like sitting, leaning against the wall.
Okay.
And so then at some point in the night, I think I woke up, or she woke up, and I ended up sleeping. I was like laying on the floor near her, and then I woke up later in the morning, and I don't know how, she had at some point like gotten a blanket and like stripped part of her clothes off or something and was like laying on the ground, and I could see her legs were spread eagle with the blanket over her legs, and there was a giant wet patch on the blanket and on her legs, and Actually, so I didn't actually get peed on,
Yeah.
but it was a near thing. And so I was thinking, okay, what's the most appropriate response here? Do I wake her up and tell her that she has pissed herself so that she can take care of it before her friends wake up and see that she's pissed herself? Or do I leave? So would it be more embarrassing for her to know that I knew she had pissed herself, or would it be more embarrassing for her to have her friends find out? And that was the dilemma that I had.
Yeah.
And so I finally decided, I left a note saying, I couldn't sleep, so I left, tried to make it seem like I wasn't there all night.
Yeah.
Just left the note, creeped out of the house, and just like, all right, I'm done with that. That's fine. Later on that same day, I was meeting a girl at the bagelry. And was having a bagel sitting out front, and this was a girl that I was actually interested in. The peeing girl walks by, sees me there at the bagelry with the young woman, and goes, "Did I pee on you?"
Oh, what?
Yeah. And I was like, no, what? No, I'm fine. No pee. No, it's fine. And she kept trying to apologize and say more about it. And I was like, no, say no more. It's fine. While the other girl was glaring at me from across the table.
That wasn't handled very well, was it?
No. I've never I used to wet my bed as a small child every once in a while.
Yeah, me too.
Haven't done that as an adult. I have gotten up.
Good.
Well, no, you hear about people getting
you
really...
want a medal?
You hear about people getting really drunk and pissing themselves all the time.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Yeah.
But that's bad. If you're doing
I
that.
think that's a bad sign. I have gotten up and peed in my dirty clothes basket before. Bam. I want to continue on with something that we were discussing last week, because I don't think we sucked all the marrow out of this subject. I was talking about how I would be at a severe disadvantage during the apocalypse because I have contacts.
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, it's the middle of the night, everyone's sleeping peacefully in their little makeshift huts, and the other tribe attacks. They're trying to steal our resources.
Yeah.
So I get up, I'm stumbling around, fucking blind. I've got my contacts floating in like half a Sparkette's bottle, and I'm trying to fumble my little loincloth on, grabbing my contacts, shoving my finger into my eye. By the time I can actually see, somebody's going to have already shoved a shiv through my heart, and I'll be dead.
Yeah.
So what other disadvantages, pre-existing conditions can we think of that would put you at a severe disadvantage when the apocalypse comes, Warren?
Yeah, everyone that has like chronic diseases,
They're dead.
they're dead.
See, I'm fine other than the vision. I don't have anything horrible going on.
You don't need to have like dialysis or something,
No.
because then you're just like, oh.
My teeth are in pretty good shape. I'm not going to have a root canal or anything.
No dentist has looked at those teeth for a while.
Yeah, they're not rotting out of my head, at least. I don't have... I'm not on any medication that I need to survive.
Well, I guess if you have like heart disease, you need to take your like Lipitor. I guess you could like fight to like get as much Lipitor as possible and take it.
Well, that's the other thing too. We'd have to find... I don't know, is there a National Guard armory around here? Because we need to know where to get the guns as soon as this all shakes out.
Ah, crap. Where's the National Guard?
I don't know.
It used to be where the roller rink was that turned into like storage for the university.
Yeah.
Now I don't know where it is. Where are these guns?
I know there's a gun shop. I'm sure that'd be the first place people hit, though.
Oh, people are going to tear that gun shop. By the time we get there, it'd be all gone. All the guns would be gone. All you got to have guns like in your house ready to go.
Yeah, which I don't at the moment. It's probably...
How prepared can you be? For earthquakes, they're like, have some bottled water around. In this part of the country, they're always talking about the big one.
Yeah.
Because it's every couple thousand years we get a big one. It's going to wipe everything out. And it's like, maybe. Maybe not.
They do say the last huge one here was like 9.4 or something like that. It actually dammed the Columbia River.
Oh, a 9.4 would tear us apart.
Oh, my God.
Or meteor.
Oh, yeah.
Let's say...
But we have Bruce Willis and Ben Affleck. Well, it's not going to be a
Willis
problem.
is getting older, and Affleck is like getting softer in his old age. Our satellites, our radio satellites pick up this meteor coming out, and they're like, 8 months out, this thing's going to hit. Mm-hmm. We're done. We can't do anything about it. It's like the size of the moon. It's kind of like, you know what I mean? There's like nothing we can do about this. What do you think happens to society for those 8 months?
I think insane, massive panic, and before the meteor even hits, everything would just...
Everything crumbles?
apart. Yeah.
Really? You don't think we'd all kind of just be like, get panicked for a few days, and we'd all kind of pull together and kind of accept our fate? You go through the like, what are the 7 steps of like grief or whatever, right? You like panic, denial, you do all this stuff, and eventually you come to acceptance. You think we'd come to acceptance as a society before the meteor hit the planet? I
think day 1, panic erupts. By the time the meteor hits, we'll be cooking each other and devouring, like, for no reason. There's no
yeah,
reason.
That's the thing.
No reason to turn to cannibalism, but we will for some reason.
The only things that make sense to do is like anything you were going to work on that was going to take more than 8 months, right? If you were working on maybe planting some crops, you're 4 months into this, and you're like, they won't come to fruition for 6 months. You'd be like, well, I don't have to do that now. I'll just relax. You know what I mean?
We're saving up for that new Dodge Charger. You're like, oh, I'm not going to get it by then.
Charger.
What's the point? I don't know.
Is that what you want?
No. I don't know. No, I would like to think that people would all just kind of pull together. I guess they would probably be able to determine exactly where the meteor would hit, where there would be most immediate destruction. But then there'd be climate change, all sorts of crazy weather. There'd probably be like a nuclear winter sort of thing.
No, this is what I'm saying about this meteor. We are like,
oh, it's just gone.
Yeah,
like,
we're done. There's no. That's what I'm saying. It's like as big as the moon. It's like, even by the time it gets close to us, yeah, it's gonna it's gonna knock us out of orbit by the time it gets close. It's just like we're
okay. So, yeah, I guess in that case, what would you do?
You know what? Now I think about it, I wouldn't be so sure they were right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I definitely wouldn't do anything that like.
Well, because if you are naked in a grocery store, like, 2 minutes before the meteor is supposed to hit, going crazy, smearing cream corn all over yourself, and then they're like, oh, we were wrong. Then you'd be kind of embarrassed, probably.
I know. I'm a big fan of science, just like anybody else. But you know what? They're wrong an awful lot.
They're wrong more than they're right.
They're wrong more than they're right. And people forget that, because science is better than just like blind faith. But it's still not
But you would think
perfect.
A giant meteor the size of the moon. I don't know.
You'd think so. Because I have my doubts about this global warming thing.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if we want to get into that.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into this.
My opinion of this, I don't know what comedic potential we can wring out of this, but basically, I believe that there is climate change. I believe there's always been climate change. And the fact that it's human-caused, I think, is more politically motivated than actually scientifically motivated.
I am skeptical as well. And people hear you say that, and it's like,
oh my God,
you have told them you're going to rape their mother.
Or you're a fucking caveman.
Oh,
you have
yeah.
no idea. And that's what bugs me, is it's almost like a religion. It's like
getting to the point that it's a religion.
Of faith, there's original sin, there's all these things that you're not supposed to do, and you're a good, virtuous person if you adhere to these certain things. To me, it's a little too much sound and fury over nothing.
That's the thing about it, right? Because, like, I don't know anything about the science. I'm willing to admit, I understand there's some carbon. It's trapping things in here. We have some problem involving this. But I do have experience with seeing how people react to things on a massive scale, and the way propaganda sort of builds on itself.
And there's so much media beating the drum because they like ratings. They like there to always be a crisis. It's always the end of the world. And you can look back just in the historical record and see, there's a period during the Middle Ages where the world was much warmer than it is now. There was a little ice age we had in the 70s where things got a lot cooler for a while. Like, this is constantly happening. During the expansion of the Roman Empire, they had a very warm period for hundreds of years, and a lot of people say that's kind of one of the reasons why civilization flourished at the time. Who's to say that whatever climate we've had for the last 200 years is the proper climate for the Earth? It's been constantly in flux, over and over and over. And we just adapt. We adapt to it, or we don't. And obviously I don't agree that we should just go insane and start dumping, pesticides everywhere just for the fuck of it. But, take everything in moderation. Don't freak out so completely about everything.
Yeah.
It's about control, in my opinion. It's about control. It's about...
That's what makes me suspicious of it, too. Some of the motivations.
It's like, okay, we're going to start charging people for plastic bags because that's the environmentally conscious thing to do. What effect does that actually have? Where does that money go? It's all these little rules and things that get put in place because it makes people feel better about themselves, like they're making a difference, when in fact, you look at a lot of recycling programs where it actually takes more energy to recycle the material than you would waste by
or nobody wants the material once it's recycled, and it just
it's fine. If you want to do that, that's fine. I mean, I would consider myself an environmentalist just because I do agree, even if it isn't causing climate change, it's a good idea to try to be a good steward.
Oh yeah, you don't want to waste shit.
Yeah, but I don't believe in this mass hysteria that the world is going to end. I mean, they talked about that in the 70s, where the world was going to cool to the point where life would not be sustainable anymore, because all the water would be frozen in the poles, we wouldn't have enough fresh water, there wouldn't be enough rain. We're still here. It's fine.
It goes back to the Cold War, too.
Yeah.
It makes me think about how, they'd settled on this deterministic philosophy about the world. We were heading towards this, proletarian revolution.
Right.
And they said the same things about that.
Yeah.
They said it was science.
Yeah.
They're like, it's science, it's science, it's science. And they're like, how dare you refute my science? And it's like, well, is it science?
Yeah.
Or is it just you having an idea about something and then making everything conform to that idea?
Exactly. It's making the results conform to the theory that you already had to begin with. It's like every 10 years, caffeine is going to kill you. Or no, 10 years later, caffeine is great for you in moderation. Wine is going to kill you. Oh no, drink a glass of wine every day. It's
everything in moderation.
Yeah.
Right?
Whatever. I need a Dr. Pepper.
Okay.
Okay. We just had a minor emergency. I went to get a Dr. Pepper and I had none.
Brad got up, went to the refrigerator in a very casual fashion, and I just heard a squeal. I was like, oh my God, what happened? He's like, there's no Dr. Pepper.
It's a very frightening prospect when I expect there to be Dr. Pepper in my fridge and then there is no Dr. Pepper. So I had to run down to the local convenience store and get some Dr. Pepper. But it's okay now. I've got Dr. Pepper.
Please, just relax, everybody. It's fine.
What fuels my body is Dr. Pepper and cigarettes.
I'm a big fan of caffeine.
Oh, yeah.
I've had a lot of coffee today. Mm-hmm. I had a mocha in the morning. Mm-hmm. And I had a bunch of cups of coffee with breakfast. Mm-hmm. And I had a caramel macchiato on the way over here.
See, you're one of those foo-foo coffee people.
Oh, yeah. So much milk.
When I drink coffee, I drink coffee. It's coffee.
Yeah. But you don't like a little sweetness in there?
Yeah, I mean, I put a little bit of sugar, not very much.
Like a little bit of milk?
A little bit of foam milk? Mocha. What the hell is a macchiato, anyway?
I don't know what makes a macchiato. They're always caramel macchiatos, though. And they're just kind of like caramely... I assume it's a caramel latte.
You don't say caramel?
I say caramel.
Yeah, so do I.
That's fine, right?
Yeah,
I had this debate with somebody recently, I think.
I'd like a caramel bar. Yeah, that doesn't...
Caramel. Is there an caramel? There's an A in there, right?
Yeah, there is.
That's why, because I was like, no, I say caramel. People are like, well, you're pronouncing that wrong. And I was like, am I?
I think most people say caramel. There is also the aluminum. British people say aluminium, because we cut out a syllable. It should be aluminium, but...
I know where this came up.
Why?
I was talking about caramello bars. Because at work we had some expired ones that I took.
How long does it take until a candy bar expires?
Years. We don't have a lot of customers at my work, so there's this box that shows up in the break room occasionally. I have old pregnancy tests you can use, fertility tests, like vitamins for your eyes. They're all expired, and then expired candy. And the caramello was very unpopular. Apparently nobody wanted to buy them, so I took a bunch of these expired ones. But I call them Carmelo.
No.
And people were like, that's not how you say
they
it.
They are caramello bars.
And I was like, no, I'm right. And I was like, pull up an ad from the 80s, and we watched it on YouTube, and I was like, I was wrong. It is like caramello.
I think I remember vaguely a caramello.
Yeah, there's a caramello thing that goes on, yeah. They're pretty good. They're very rich. A man that, like me who likes rich things, it's still it's just like chocolate and liquid caramel, and it's like, wow, this is a lot.
I don't think I've ever had one.
You've never had one?
I don't think so.
Caramel and chocolate together are pretty good.
So now we're saying caramel?
Because of this A, I'm going to try to say the A now.
Yeah. Caramel. I don't think we have to say caramel. We could just say caramel.
Caramel? Caramel.
Is this entertaining?
Yeah, this is excellent. This is what the people want to hear.
How do you say caramel? Do you say caramel or caramel? Right, it's a podcast at WarrenandBradley.com.
Hit us up on Twitter.
You had something to say?
Oh, yeah. We need some intro music, I think, but this is Celebrity Minute.
Do 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 ba da da ba da ba da ba. Celebrity Minute on the Warren and Bradley Show.
Outstanding. So one of the big news items this week was that Kobe Bryant's wife is finally leaving him
after
multiple infidelities. Apparently, Well, and the case in Eagle, Colorado from years
Right.
ago, which it didn't turn out to be a rape, but it turned out still was like
He
infidelity.
was having sex with her, yeah.
Then he gave her a giant like ring that had a giant diamond on it or something.
He gave the woman
No.
Oh, his wife.
He gave her nothing but shame.
Yeah.
His wife, he gave like this huge, like a purple diamond or something, so she was fine then. But now the word is that she's finally like, she's known about multiple affairs. She's like, that's it. Mm-hmm. We're done. I was reading the newspaper earlier today, and apparently one of the owners of the Seattle Mariners is getting a divorce. Mm-hmm. And, he's just going to get raked over the coals.
Why?
Because he has hundreds of millions of dollars.
But
So he's got to split it all up.
Was there infidelity involved?
They didn't say anything about that. Apparently, it sounded like a long marriage, and they're like, now they're having disputes over how much the things he has are worth, of course.
Right.
So they have different, interpretations of the value of the baseball team, and you might have to sell it. And, it's just terrible. It makes you not want to get married.
It's really interesting to me how I love you. You get married, you have your idyllic first 4 or 5 years, and then you get to the point where all you're doing is squabbling over money. It just seems how do you get to that point?
This is the thing. I think if I married, let's say I married Mariah Carey, and she has hundreds of...
I'm just imagining the domestic situation with you and
Can you
Mariah
imagine
Carey.
a worse matchup? But I married to her. She has all this
For
money.
some reason, you're wearing a leopard print kind of Speedo.
Because I have to fit into the image.
I don't know.
But I'm mostly just I gotta get away from this woman. She's awful. But she's got all this money, right? And we finally, after a couple of years, we're like, this isn't working out. This was a terrible idea in the first place. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to demand half of Mariah Carey's money. I'm going to say
Well, I think if Mariah Carey were to meet you at the ranch room, let's say, and you developed an infatuation, eventually it turned into a romance and eventually a marriage, I think her lawyers would have made you sign quite an ironclad prenup before the actual ceremony.
These prenups, rarely ironclad. Mm. Apparently, you can just destroy them easily.
It all, yeah.
And even if... that's the thing. If I did get a divorce with her, and my lawyer was like, you can take half of Mariah Carey's money. You can take half the money from the Butterfly album, all of them. I'm like... You know what? I don't need half the money. But, it's fine. She wants to cut me a little check. I can go. It's a very small portion of her fortune. I don't need it. It's not my money. You know what I mean?
I know. And that's the way I feel, too. I don't know if this is a male thing compared to female thing or what.
Oh, are you getting a little hesitant about saying some things right now?
I don't want to step on any toes.
That's what the Warren and Bradley show's all about.
Any female toes. But yeah, I know that men are just as greedy as women, but
yes.
I think there is kind of that understanding. If you've made this money, why am I entitled to this money? I've had relationships where the girl made more money than I did, and I always felt kind of weird about it. And I don't think that's the case for women.
No, maybe now more, but like Paul McCartney's ex-wife, the one with the one leg. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? She took so much money.
The one-legged gold digger. It's like, what are the chances?
It's like for some reason people think if you have one leg,
you must pure-hearted. Yeah.
Well, it's just like in all the movies, the ugly girl's not the awful girl.
Yeah, but the ugly girl always just has glasses and her hair up in a bun, and then when she takes the glasses off and her hair down, she's just amazingly beautiful.
But you're not allowed to
If they put an actual ugly girl in one of those movies, nobody would go see them.
Well, it's like if somebody's setting up the ugly girl for a date.
Right.
They always sell her on her personality.
Right.
But just because you're ugly doesn't mean you have a good personality.
No.
Just because you're pretty doesn't mean you don't have a good personality. Although you're less likely to.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before, too.
I don't think we've taled about this on the show. This is interesting.
But this is interesting. This is an interesting topic. If you're a beautiful girl that turns into a beautiful woman, you don't have to struggle very much in life.
The theory is that people are constantly reinforcing you all the time and giving you what you want without you even having to ask for it. And so you don't have to develop your personality because you just get everything handed to you on a silver plate. If you're someone who blossomed later in life, this is true for men too, I think. Mm-hmm. If you were kind of freakish looking as a child, and then somehow you hit puberty and just turned into an amazingly attractive person, chances are that you had to develop your personality, maybe a sense of humor, maybe better social skills, and so it's a rare package. You and I both possess this package.
Oh, do we ever?
Oh my God,
we struggled.
But I think I definitely see that as the case. There's plenty of people I've known, and there definitely are exceptions to the rule, but yeah,
it's just like anything else in life. If you're Richie Rich, let's say, like a real life version of Richie Rich. And you're not going to be, you're going to have the same perspective on things. Everything was given to you your entire life.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to be very interesting or charming because you never had to. You're not going to develop these skills.
Right.
It's just like if you've never had to like scrape for anything your entire life, you're not going to be a very good fighter.
Well, they talk about sense of humor in men and women, and I'm not sure if I totally agree with this, but there have been studies. I don't know how you quantify funny,
it's difficult.
but they've done studies where they say that men usually develop more of a sense of humor than women because they have to constantly be on, like trying to attract women. Which I don't know if I totally agree with the science with that or not, but I do notice. Think about female friends you have. How many of them will do, funny little voices, or, like all of us, we can do our accents, our impersonations. When was the last time you heard a girl do a voice? This is interesting.
I have. Sometimes they do. And they
really
do like
bad,
the male voice, and it's not good.
I'm a man.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like someone's doing an impersonation of me. They're like, "Oh, then you said this." Oh, my name's Warren. I'm like, I don't talk like that. I don't talk like that.
Of course, our impersonation of women is always. It's like the screechy harpy.
Oh my goodness, what a celebrity minute this has been. The divorce of Kobe Bryant, of course, is tragic, and we're all sad about that. But there's also some good news this week in the marriage realm. Britney Spears is getting married.
Whoa. Again? Oh, yeah, she was married.
She was married to Kevin Federline, remember? The dancer.
Oh, yeah,
Then he got very fat. And then she had like a mental breakdown.
And shaved her head.
Shaved her head? Yeah, God hopes that Britney...
Do you think maybe it occurred to her that she actually has no talent whatsoever? And her whole life was built upon a lie?
Well, that's the kind of thing you might at some point discover, and that might make you break down and shave your head.
Yeah.
But you'd like to think that she would be a strong enough person to at some point realize that she was actually just very fortunate. You know what I mean?
Have you ever heard her interviewed?
She doesn't seem like she's that bright, does she?
I think, yeah, if either you can totally freak out and realize that your life is an entire lie, or you can say, I've got a bunch of houses and cars, and I might as well just go ahead and continue with the lie. Because
yeah.
What's the point anyway? Yeah.
Or even just be like, realize that I don't have this because I'm a great talent.
But I have it.
I have it, and I will now use it for good rather than evil.
Yeah. So who's her young man? Who's she married?
He's not very young. Apparently he's 40.
Oh.
I don't know anything about him.
And she's 30 now, apparently?
No.
Yeah, I think she just turned 30.
Oh, I thought she was much younger than us than that.
No.
Man, okay, wow. That could be. Yeah, I guess I always thought of her as young because she was dancing around in that schoolgirl outfit in the hallway.
Well, I mean, that was a long time ago. That was
Yeah,
like 15 years ago.
time flies. Also in celebrity news, Ellen DeGeneres has bought Brad Pitt's old house in Malibu.
Okay.
For $12 million. This is the house that apparently Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston bought when they got married. That's where
and
they
all
live.
the paparazzi with them in the pool, and they're like running around naked.
That must be the house, right?
Yeah.
So now Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi will be in the pool naked.
Is it Portia? Portia de Rossi?
I always thought it was Portia.
Maybe.
No, it makes more sense for it to be Porsche, doesn't it?
I think.
Maybe I just see it as, I think it's spelled Portia, so I may see it written down.
Ellen DeGeneres getting all these hot chicks all the time?
No, she's charming.
I guess so, but come on, throw a little my way.
You know Ellen DeGeneres.
I guess
buddy.
not. Yeah.
She's wealthy. People love her.
She's likable. I like her.
She's very likable. Yeah. She's one of those celebrities that everyone seems to like.
She's good in the sack, apparently.
I haven't heard anything about that, but I assume so. Yes.
Well, she has all these born again lesbians. Cause
what do you mean?
Wasn't Anne Heche had never been with a woman before?
I forgot about Anne Heche.
Yeah, and she was fucking hot. And then she was with Ellen DeGeneres, and then after Ellen DeGeneres, she went back to men.
But she went insane too. Remember, she had like that fugue state where she went to somebody's house.
Oh yeah, the fugue state.
What's that all about?
I don't know. I kind of want a fugue state. I'm just gonna go insane and start doing ridiculous things. And I was in a fugue state. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, Walter White did that on the Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they figured it out.
Yeah.
Or some people did.
Yeah.
Like, this is suspicious.
But yeah, so she had Anne Heche, who had never been a lesbian before. It was like, oh, well, Ellen DeGeneres, I'm questioning my sexuality now. And then Portia de Rossi, wasn't she not a lesbian before?
They've been together for a while. I don't know. Maybe she may have not been out. I don't know if she was ever like claiming she was straight either.
Okay.
You know? Wow, this is a pretty sad story, actually. I don't know why I put this up. Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt took their 6 kids to Cirque du Soleil, or is that how you say that?
Cirque du Soleil.
Cirque du Soleil in Las Vegas. That's a lame story.
This is a sad story. I thought you meant it was actually going to be like poignantly
it's
sad.
It's just pathetic, really. There's not much to that.
Well, this is the whole celebrity media thing. Is they just talk about everything they ever do, and I don't know.
Oh, we have the list of the kids' names, though.
Oh.
Wait, don't look.
Okay.
How many of them can you name?
I know there's a Maddox, the little Asian one.
Ding!
There's an African-sounding name.
You're going to need to get a little bit more specific.
Zara or
Oh,
Zira.
Ding! Zara. You can name Zara. Hey, no.
Oh.
There's also the twins, too. You know any of the twins' names?
I don't know the twins.
And there's also the one that likes to dress like a boy. That's a girl.
Okay.
That's Shiloh. That's their,
actual child
that popped out of her. Pax is another Asian boy.
Okay.
There's Vivian and Knox are the twins.
Knox, like K-N.
I thought there was one more. Maybe not.
Sorry, I'm dropping things. Their names aren't horrible. We've talked about this before, about the horrible celebrity names. What I like is when rich white people adopt poor Asian people or African people. I like it if they kind of keep the ethnic quality of the name, you know?
But people reject that eventually. A lot of those kids.
Why?
I know about a lesbian couple that adopted an Asian kid. Mm-hmm. And I think the kid had an Asian name, and they were going along for years. And as it got in the teenage years, it was like, I don't want to be an Asian.
Well,
I want to be like the Americans.
It depends how, because there's some names that could be sort of unidentifiable, but they still have what I don't like is when you're adopting some little kid who's 3 years old, they already have a name.
Oh, you got to stick with the name of their 3.
Yeah, and then you're like, no, we're going to name you Bob, even though your name was like Yuki or something like that. It's just, I don't know.
Yuki's a good name.
I like that name.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems unlikely that I'm going to get an Asian baby at any point. But I'll stick with
they're going like hotcakes. I don't know if you can even get them anymore. It's hard to get.
So I know we've grown up with all these Asian people that are raised by white people, right? Haven't we? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Is that not going to happen in 20 years? There aren't going to be another generation of those?
The sluice gates are closing now. Apparently in China, they're making it much more difficult for people to get a little Asian baby because now the only ones they're letting people adopt are ones who have horrible birth defects.
No.
And they're not going to pay for them to get any treatment in China, so they'll be like, okay, white people, you can take this baby. It's broken. Which is good because they're getting the medical treatment they need. Yeah. And often they can have, completely fine lives once they just get... Actually, I know someone who adopted a little Asian girl who had a hole in her heart. Mm-hmm. And it's something that can be completely corrected. And she can have a completely fine life. But she wouldn't have gotten that treatment in China.
You have any celebrity news? You haven't heard anything this week?
No.
It's
I never
a very
do,
long celebrity minute.
I know, celebrity
drags
20
on.
minutes. God, kill me.
It did happen to me earlier this week.
What's up?
I was walking home from work, and it was dark out, and I'm walking...
Is this another prostitute thing?
No. This is the exact opposite of prostitutes. Okay. If there's such thing as an opposite of a prostitute. This would be the...
Doesn't have sex for free?
I was walking down the street.
Okay.
And I come to an intersection. I kind of out of the corner of my eye, I see these guys approaching, coming up the other side. And they have something shiny on their chest, like badges, and they're wearing all black. Mm-hmm. I go, what are these guys? Are these guys cops? No. Mormons.
No. They have badges now?
They have little badges that say their name, right?
Oh, okay.
And they're shining in the streetlight.
Okay.
And so I kind of look over and I see these guys, and I can tell the one sees me look across the street and see him. Mm-hmm. So they take off and come across the street after me.
Do not make eye contact with Mormons.
And I go, oh, hey, guys. And usually I engage Mormons in conversations. Yeah. I like to find out where they're from, and I talk about where they're from. That's interesting. How'd you end up here? Blah, 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 blah.
Well, that's the sad thing is they'll be sent on their mission to here. Or I knew a Mormon guy who got sent on a mission to St. Louis.
Oh, when I used to live in St. Louis, and I saw guys on the bus there, and they were Mormons, and I was like, ha, ha, ha. Mm-hmm. How unfortunate for you. And they're like, we didn't get to choose where we went. They weren't trying to be resentful, but they were like, this may not have been our first choice. You could tell. I
actually had a friend in college. I was going to college in L.A., and this Mormon guy who wanted to be a house DJ, which I don't know how that works, but he got sent on his mission to Vancouver, Washington.
Oh, that's terrible.
And he actually called us and wanted us to go rescue him. And I didn't go, but a bunch of our friends drove all the way from L.A. to Vancouver, Washington, got to the little house where he was put up, and his handlers or whatever were like, no. And I guess he was just silhouetted in this window up above in the house, like, and they left him, and I guess he completed his mission. But go on with your story.
Well, I asked the first Mormon, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's like, are you familiar with our church? And I was like, yes, I'm familiar with your church. And I was like, oh, where are you from? He's like, Utah. And I was like, well, this is no good. I can't go anywhere with that. And he's like, yeah, sir, it's stereotypical. I was like, yeah. So I turned to the other guy, who's much less interested in talking to me. He's like, he can tell it's going nowhere with me. He's kind of leaning on this, like, post office box, just like, oh, what is this other guy doing? And I'm like, where are you from? He's like, Utah. And I was like, oh boy, this is a problem. Then we just kind of stare at each other, and then he's got like the book, and he's kind of handing it out, and I'm kind of looking at him like, do you want me to take this? And he's like, you know about the light, or about coming, learning? I was like, I don't know, probably not. And the other guy's trying to drag him away, and it was a bad. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go. And I just turned around and walked away.
So you're the one person who Mormons realize there's no point. There's no use.
Well, it was weird because there was the tall blonde guy who seemed into it. He's like, I'm going to give this a shot. There's a shorter guy. The shorter guy was kind of like, he didn't seem interested in doing it at all. Like, he was just going through the motions or something. He's like, we got to get to this many houses. Why are we talking to this guy? We don't need to worry about this guy. He's just some guy who walks around the street.
Did you look homeless again? I don't think they want homeless people. They want people who have money.
They're not Scientologists. They're Mormons.
Yeah, you give a lot of money to the church. They have tons of money.
Well, they have tons of money. I think Mormons are prosperous, I think.
Well, that's...
They don't spend their money on, like, soda and
caffeine or cigarettes.
Yeah, cigarettes
prostitutes
or
or drugs.
They just, they save their money. They just go to, like, Mervyn's and buy their clothes. They don't have a lot of fashion bills. Yeah. It's not the worst lifestyle.
No, I mean, I think they're, in general, pretty good people.
Oh, yeah, it's good, clean living. Good way to go through life. And I thought about it as I was walking away that maybe I should just become a Mormon and see how it goes.
But see, you're not guaranteed to get to heaven. Because there's only a certain amount of Mormons that get to go to heaven.
Yeah, I don't know how that works anymore.
I don't know if that... See, that seems like a really bad selling point for the religion. It's like, you may or may not be able to go to heaven.
No, they've made these changes.
But I guess everybody goes to heaven, but there's different levels of heaven.
Well, there's different planets. And I think, like, black people went to some awful planet
Well,
originally.
black people are cursed, apparently.
Yeah, but now it's like...
They don't advertise that as much.
Until the 70s, you couldn't be, like, in the ministry and be black. But apparently you can now. Yeah. There's, like, black people on the BYU basketball team. They got blacks.
That's a negative aspect of the church, I guess.
The racism.
That's always kind of negative.
The racism and like they don't like to talk about the polygamy because they just say that's the fundamentalist splinter group. But
right. But then the women are always pregnant in the afterlife. Isn't that the case?
What?
Eternally pregnant.
Are you kidding?
I've heard something about this.
Oh man, that's weird.
Yeah,
is that a good thing?
I guess.
Does that mean you're delivering like the souls of other people who die?
I don't know.
Oh, that's a weird concept, isn't it?
Maybe we shouldn't talk about this because we don't know. But
this is my religion. You're pregnant. You're like, you go to heaven, and the women are always pregnant with like the souls of like other like Mormons who have died, and they come out of them.
That's not good for the guy either. Because if you're married to a Mormon woman, you both die. You have your little planet together. And depending on how good of a Mormon or whatever, I don't know how it works, God will either be... God's in one part all the time, and then he'll visit other areas, and it's basically separation from God or something. I don't know. But if you're stuck for eternity with a woman who is always pregnant, how annoying is that? She's constantly like, go buy me some pickles and ice cream, and she's like, won't lift any heavy boxes. She's just kind of lounging on the couch all the time. They always do that when they get up out of a seat that they've been in for a long time.
Yeah, it doesn't sound that great.
No.
This is my thing with the afterlife. People are like, oh, you can go to heaven, you can go to hell. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I don't want to go to either. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with just dying. It's much worse to me if I can never get out of the situation. Well,
it depends. I mean, if heaven really existed, it's supposedly amazing in paradise.
Well, people tell me a lot of things. I don't know if I'm actually going to enjoy it. And how do I get out? There's no way out.
Well, you don't get out. You're there forever.
But, and you're in hell forever, too.
Yeah.
I just want... It's not that bad if you can, like, die and not have to go on. That's much better.
I don't know.
Than the risk of heaven or hell.
It would depend on what heaven was like. If you had to live your life completely pure...
What would you do?
I don't know. That would be really boring.
Of course you do.
Well, maybe not. Maybe heaven is just...
Well, he has different rules in heaven?
It's like, you did good on earth. Once you get to heaven, just go wild. You can do whatever the fuck you want.
No.
You're taking lines of coke off strippers' tits. You're going crazy up there. Because you've already served your time on earth. And now you're just go crazy.
But then wouldn't you be in hell?
No, because hell, nothing good happens. Hell, you're just, like, prodded up the ass by burning hot coals.
Well, it sounds like... God's heaven would be your hell. You see what I'm saying?
But
you had
God's
to do clean
heaven.
living.
God's heaven could just be boring. You're sitting there praying all the time, which would be kind of annoying. But
terrible.
I don't think hell is just going crazy and being like a hedonist. I think hell is actually having your fingernails pulled out one by some big fat demon. And, yeah.
That's a bad scene. You know what I mean? You think Hitler's bad? Whoever invented hell is really bad. You're going to put somebody in a place where they're being tortured for eternity?
Yeah.
It's much worse than anything anyone's ever done on Earth.
But you get away with that by saying, well, if you just accept God, then you won't go there.
That's no excuse.
So,
Well, that's no excuse for torture, right? What about the Geneva Convention? Let's look at this hair on my head. I think I need to get my hair cut.
that's a dangerous proposition because those of you who have never seen Warren, he has a sort of a caveman hair. Or
It's very thick.
it's very thick, wavy, a lot of body in there. And if Warren gets a close cropped haircut, it looks kind of like a seal pelt where there's these glistening guard hairs and then a thick undercoat. It's probably very waterproof. It's probably good for slithering through inlets and things like that.
It looks like a helmet.
It looks like a helmet. It looks like, I don't know, it's like if you tried to rub your fingers through there, it would get stuck.
Or if it's like a little Lego guy and he has the hair on there.
Yeah, you just
I
pop
look
it
like,
in.
you just like somebody just pop this thing on there and it's like hard and it's just like,
You have good newscaster hair.
oh yeah, I could like blow dry it up and it
Yeah.
would look like, it would look perfect, or like look like Bill Clinton or something.
So are you just going to shave it all off? What are you going to do?
I don't know what's going to happen. I just let people cut it, so we're going to see where it goes.
This goes along with you not caring anything about your appearance.
This is true. I haven't gotten a professional haircut since I was a child. Just kind of like cut it myself or let anyone cut it.
This
that
is the
wanted
same
to.
for me. I've cut my own hair since I was like 15, I think.
Yeah, so I kind of roll the dice with that, and I'm like, go for it. But then the problem is, sometimes it looks like a helmet for a while.
Yeah.
But there's no way for me to avoid that helmet phase. Because even if it's really short, eventually it looks like a helmet for a while.
Have you ever heard of thinning shears?
You can thin the whole thing out.
Yeah, they're like
Oh, the ones that kind of
Kinda serrated.
look like they're not clipping everything, but a little
Yeah.
bit of hair comes out.
yeah.
You think I should just go over my whole head with those?
I don't know.
That seems like it would take a while.
You'll end up with just these weird little strands like a doll's hair. or
Well, I
something
assume
together.
that some of it would be very kind of thin and some of it wouldn't be thin. It'd be like patchy.
I think I don't know. I have never used these, but
No, I know what you mean though. When they have like the brush on them too, kind of, and they're kind of cutting at it. You're like, those aren't cutting anything, but still like hair is falling off.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's something to look into.
I'm gonna shave my facial hair off too.
Yeah, that would help with the homeless.
It's because I haven't done any maintenance. Like for months, I've done nothing to my face or hair. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like done whatever it wants to do.
We need to get more pictures up online so people can actually. I guess if you shave and everything, you won't be able to convey this. But
Before and after.
you still seem to do all right though.
What? What do you mean?
Just like people aren't offended by your appearance,
Well, some people
except
are.
for Caitlin.
Yeah,
But
Caitlin was, but you can tell it bothers some people.
I don't think about it.
It's different when people know you, and then they're like, "Oh, it's that guy."
Yeah.
But I think if my first impression of people are like, "Oh boy,"
Well, now that we're media figures, you have something to kind of live up to. You have an image that you need to convey. But maybe you should be the slovenly buffoon to my, sophisticated, suave persona.
or maybe we should just reverse personas. You
Maybe.
should become the slob, and I'll clean myself up and just look fabulous all the
I don't
time.
know if I could live that lie.
I'll shower constantly.
Showering is good. I agree with that. I
No, I
that.
shower, use deodorant, all those things.
Yeah.
All that game the man wants you to play.
Next time on the Ward and Bradley Show. Thanks for smoking, asshole.
Maybe it immolated his penis, and now he'll no longer be able to have children.
They're dead. You know what I mean?
This is what you get,
This is what you get for back talking smokers.
dick.
You look like a fag.
I don't think I do. Really? Oh, you're gonna kill me?
Yeah, I'll kill you. I'll like smother you with a pillow.
The only experience I have with trying to smother someone with a pillow has been with girlfriends, and not like
God, that's a
no.
next time on.
Next time.
The Warren and Bradley Show. Available on iTunes and at warrenandbradley.com.